Want to know what Rhode Island's housing market is right now? Well, in today's video, we're going to discuss what the housing market looks like here in Rhode Island. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is about living in Rhode Island, subscribe below, tap that bell for notifications so you can be the first to learn about the current market here in Rhode Island. My name is Devin, and my team and I, we get calls and texts every single day from people just like you, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're looking to move in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email so we can help you make a smooth transition here to Rhode Island. Let's jump on in. So what is the Rhode Island housing market like right now? Well, there's three major things you need to understand what's going on right now. So we have a super low inventory. This seems to be a consistent trend across the United States. Right now, when I check today, we have 787 active listings on MLS. That is an extremely low number when you consider it across the entire state of Rhode Island. So inventory right now, very low. Next is you have high competition. Now, you may be a buyer just walking into the marketplace right now, but you need to understand there have been buyers in the marketplace that have made 3, 4, 5, 9, 10 offers at this point, and they understand that the competition is high. So if there's a home you like, you have to make sure that you are gonna be aggressive with that home. You have high competition. Next is increasing home values. Rhode Island is getting more expensive. According to Zillow, it's up 8.6% from last year, and the median home price across the state of Rhode Island is $451,000 according to Zillow. So homes are getting more expensive, not only on the southern end, but on the northern end of Rhode Island as well. So you as a buyer, what can you be doing to better prepare yourself for making offers when moving to the state of Rhode Island? Well, the first thing you want to do, this is step number one for anybody looking to buy a home, is you need to get pre-approved. I have great lenders on my team that I can refer you to, but this is going to be your first step, is getting approved, because you need to know what you can afford. If you don't know what you can afford, how do you know what homes to look at? So this is going to be your first step. Step number two for you is you have to have a flexible schedule. If you're not flexible, you're not gonna get into the homes in time, and you are gonna miss out on offers. Agents know right now they can list houses on Wednesday or Thursday, have open houses Saturday and Sunday, and they are getting offers by Monday. So you have to have a flexible schedule, especially coming into the weekends. Number three on the list to be a successful buyer is you have to make quick decisions. In this market, you cannot think about, well, do I love the home? Do I not love the home? Once you get to the home, you really need to start to be able to make decisions if this is the home for you or not. If it is, you got to make a quick decision. If it's not, move on and find the next one. But you got to be able to make quick decisions. And number four on the list is be aggressive. You have to be aggressive. As I was talking about up here, there's high competition, and there are buyers that have been in the marketplace much longer than maybe you, and they've lost out. They know they have to be aggressive. So if you come across the very first house you look at or the second house you look at, and that is the house for you, make sure you're aggressive or you're gonna lose out on that house. Now, why are we so successful as a team with helping our buyers win in multiple offer situations? And that comes down to knowing different strategies and having experience. So we laid out several strategies that you want to have on your side if you're a buyer moving to Rhode Island. So the first strategy we talk about is your offer price. The price in which you offer is going to have an impact, a big impact, whether you get that offer or not. Now, one of our favorite strategies we love to use is called an escalation clause. This is a great strategy that allows you to make an offer and set a ceiling to your offer, and also set the amount of money you're willing to pay over that next offer. So for example, let's say you're making an offer on a $500,000 piece of property, and we know there are multiple offers on that property, and you're willing to pay $550,000 for that property. Well, you can come in at your offer price at $500,000. You can set your escalation up to $550,000, and you want to set how much more you're willing to pay than the next highest buyer. I usually recommend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in the difference, because $1,000 difference doesn't really mean anything to a seller, but a couple $1,000 difference can mean the world to a seller. So in that example, you make an offer of $500,000, you escalate to $550,000, and you're willing to pay $3,000 more than the next highest offer. If an offer comes in for $525,000, your offer escalates up to $528,000. If there's an offer for $560,000, you don't compete because your ceiling was $550,000. This is a strategy not a lot of agents use or implement with their buyers. This can help you get that property of your dreams. Next is understanding that your contingencies are roadblocks to a seller getting a deal done. So your contingencies you want to consider is, what are the roadblocks I want to put in front of that seller that allows me to get to closing? And the seller's thinking, what's going to block them from getting to closing? So one thing you may think of doing, if you're comfortable, is waiving your inspections. This limits the amount of roadblocks a seller has to get through in order to get that deal closed with your offer. So waiving inspections. Again, this is if you feel very comfortable, and this is if you feel confident with the home and are willing to take on some expenses once you close and are willing to say, hey, I'm okay with spending a couple thousand or 10,000 or 20,000 to fix the items that might need to be fixed once I close. Next is your mortgage contingency. Waiving your mortgage contingency may be an option for you. However, disclaimer, you want to make sure that you are in a superb financial position. Most people, at least through all of the years and the buyers that I've spoke with, most people don't even realize that if you waive your mortgage contingency, you are now a cash buyer. It does not matter where the cash comes from. You don't physically have to have the cash sitting in your bank account. Most people don't realize, like I said, that if you waive your mortgage contingency, you can compete with any cash buyer, because again, it doesn't matter where the cash is coming from, even if the cash is coming from the bank. Not a lot of people know that. You could be a cash buyer, but again, you gotta be very confident in your finances. So your contingencies and your path to closing, by waiving these, can make you a very competitive offer. Next on the list, and not a lot of people talk about this, is gap appraisal coverage. What is gap appraisal coverage? It covers the gap when an appraisal falls short. So in a competitive market like we're here right now in Rhode Island, let's say you put $20,000 in gap appraisal coverage and your offer price was $500,000 and you escalated to $550,000, right? In the example we gave for number one, and you put $20,000 in gap appraisal coverage. What you're telling that seller in a very competitive market is that if the appraisal came in at $530,000 and your gap appraisal coverage was $20,000, you cover the gap, meaning you're still willing to pay $550,000 for the home. This is giving confidence to sellers. Now let's say your offer price was $500,000 and the appraisal came in at $520,000 and your gap is $20,000. That means your offer price is now $540,000, and that seller now has an option of whether they want to go with your offer or reject it. But either way, by having gap appraisal coverage, you're giving more confidence to that seller, especially in a strong market, that if it doesn't appraise, you're willing to cover the gap. This can be a very effective strategy when there's multiple offers. Next is looking at closing dates. Now, it can be the speed of closing, and that comes back to your pre-approval and how well you're prepared with your finances and how much you've worked closely with your lender, or pushing that closing date out to accommodate that seller. They may be moving out of state, they may be looking for a rental, they may be closing on another property. So identifying closing dates that best help that seller may help you win on that offer. Next, we put writing a letter, connecting with the seller, telling them why you love their home can be a great strategy on being able to get a deal done, because some sellers really want the buyers to treat the home like they did. They may have a garden in their backyard and they may like the fact that you love to garden, right? And that's just a small example, but writing a letter can really connect with a seller. And last but not least is asking veteran questions. Veteran agents will ask other agents veteran questions. And what I mean by that is when my buyers are making offers, I'm asking seasoned and veteran questions to that listing agent. Here are a couple of them. How many offers do you have? Is there any cash offers? Are the closing dates quicker? Are there contingencies? Now, a listing agent doesn't have to answer those, but as a veteran agent, I'm asking and digging for as much information as possible so I can best advise my buyer client on how to make an offer on that deal. Next is what's important to the sellers. What is very important to the sellers when it comes to the offer? And it doesn't always have to be price. It could be timing. Do they need a quick closing date? Do they need a longer closing date? It could be ease of moving. Hey, if my buyer lets everything stay here in the property, would that help your clients out? Any furniture, anything in the garage, ease of moving, can be a great way to get your offer to be taken. And then as a buyer, after you close, you drop a dumpster and you can throw everything out, but making it easy for the seller to move. And then another one, hey, do they need a rent back? Now, there's some things you have to have in place with a rent back to protect you as a buyer, but if the seller needs more time, a rent back in an offer may be very, very attractive to that seller, especially if their timeline is further out, but they want the closing to happen sooner. So these are the strategies that we are using, and there's more as well, but these are the strategies that we're using to be able to win a lot of offers with our clients. If you're looking to purchase real estate here in Rhode Island, all of my contact information will appear below.